Hi, good morning. My name is Sabrina, and I'm a realtor with Center 21 and a photographer at Vargas Photography. And today I have Elizabeth Sechrist, who is also a photographer in the Raleigh area. So,
Hello.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for letting me interview you. How has your morning been so far?
So far, pretty easy. The weather's kind of gloomy, but what do you expect in the summer, right?
Oh yeah, we definitely need rain for all these crops to grow in nicely. Why do you like being a photographer? I know we were talking earlier that you did photography as a hobby for 10 years and you just started doing it professionally about a year ago. So, what captured you about photography?
The thing I like about photography is you're able to create. It's a creative thing. And then you're also capturing memories because once you don't realize what you're missing until it's gone. So if you have friends, you have family, you have pets, you think, oh, we're living here, we're living now. And, yes, with the inventions of the cell phones and stuff, there's the selfies and everything, but it's different when you have professional photos done that capture those memories of these people that, could be gone tomorrow because we don't know. We think, oh, I'm young or whatever, but things can change in the blink of an eye. Even COVID showed us that is how quickly things can change and just having those memories to look back on, or even if it's, whether it's a happy time, you're celebrating birthdays or whatever, it's just a typical family photo. Just having that to look back on is huge because after everyone's gone, there's nothing else left.
No, you are right. Like before I got into photography, like I'm recently new with freshly taking pictures, but I've been doing a bit of photography in college with my film and writing, all in the creative field. My mom would always bring us, it was either JC Penney, Sears, it was a whole bunch of Macy's, I believe, maybe. I don't even remember. Just for these professional pictures. And we even did like a back in time historic, like, don't even remember where, but like these pictures are something that were very ingrained in me from my childhood because she would have us in matching outfits, like from head to toe. And I had three other siblings. So I agree with you because those are the pictures that my mom still has of us. Now that myself and my two other siblings are now fully adults, the baby is only 11, like those are hers, right?
Mhm.
Those are some things that she can hold on to and reminisce of the old times when we were all babies and not adults now with a whole bunch of problems. So I could definitely agree with you on there. Um, when did you start in your business? Why did you start to take photography up as a hobby?
Well, I took it as a hobby when I was young, just because, like I said, I loved taking photos and creating things. And back then, it wasn't something that I did. Well, I did take a lot of photos. I started on a film camera. And if you know anything about film, especially, I mean, I know it's really expensive now, but even, years ago, it was super, super expensive. And I was constantly just taking photos of everything. If I saw something pretty, if I saw something unique, to the point where my parents were like, okay, you gotta stop. They started limiting me because I was at CVS or Walgreens like every week. Here, here's my film, here's my film. And so it was one of those things that I was just constantly taking photos of everything. Thankfully now with digital, that's not as big of a deal. And so when I went growing up, it was one of those things. The first camera I got from was actually from a friend of my dad's, his wife. She was a photographer, which back in the day, professional photographers were someone who worked for like the newspaper or magazines, things like that. You weren't just a
A big
photographer.
name.
Yeah. And so she worked for the local paper in Sanford. And so it was one of those things that was like, well, this will never be a career unless this is what you do. And you have to go to this, these schools and things like that. So it was never something that I looked at as a potential of a career. It's like, no, when you go to school, you have to go for, something else. And when I was young, I wanted to be a veterinarian. So it's like, well, I'll just take pictures for fun. and my job will be, to go and be a veterinarian. And then as I got older, life got in the way, did not go to vet school. And I still worked in the veterinary field just as more of the assistant technician side. And COVID like destroyed that field because of the negativity, COVID dogs, everything. It was very rough to be in veterinary medicine. Even now, just the burnout and staffing shortages and stuff. And so I hadn't picked up my camera in a couple years simply because coming home from working 10, 12-hour shifts, I didn't want to do anything but go to bed, take a shower and go to bed. And when I had gotten to a point with my job, I was like, okay, I need a break. I can't keep doing this. My husband said, well, he said, take a break. He said, why don't you pick up your camera again? And so I started just like as like a stress relief thing, just taking photos just for fun. And as I started doing this and just kind of reminding myself on some of the techniques of photography, not just, put it on auto like most people do when they get a fancy camera, but actually going back into manual mode and learning about all the lighting and stuff like that, the more I was like, I remembered how much I loved it. And because I was searching for that stuff, I found a bunch of photography influencers and things, because you search, you start showing up on your reels and things like that. And it was like, wait, so you can be a photographer these days without going to school for photography or working for a magazine or something. And I was like, well, let's just see, do some model calls, do some sessions for free, start building a portfolio, and then go from there. And so I started that about almost 2 years ago. I started with that part of it. And then it got to the point where I was actually, putting the photos and people were liking them. And it's like, okay, well, maybe it's time to start making this into a business. And so about a year ago, I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's make it official and actually turn it into a business. And so that's when I started officially taking photos and actually turning into an actual business.
No, I agree with you. To be honest, I thought auto was all I needed. Uh, I'm pretty sure my photography teacher did have us experiment with manual, but that was around towards the end of COVID time. I graduated CCRI Community College in 2021, so I didn't remember anything. Um, so it's interesting to see how different photography is from back then because I also thought you had to go to school. I
Hmm.
thought that you needed all this experience and then you had to work for J.C. Penney or like one of those big names. So like it's nice to see how photography has, in a way, like in my personal experience, it's kind of like real estate. You get what you put into it.
Hmm.
If you don't put anything into it, then you're not gonna get anything. And of course it definitely takes time. But and then I don't know about you. I don't know if you do studios, but another thing that I've started really enjoying is taking pictures outside. I didn't know you could do that professionally. As silly as that sounds. What's your favorite? Like, what's your favorite type of session to do? Like, do you have a preference?
Yeah, my favorite thing is pets, which actually is it's funny because people always tell me that when I talk about photography, that when I talk about the pet side of it, there's like a whole different light up they see in me. And I mean, animals have always been my life because, like I said, my goal was to be a veterinarian and then working in the vet field. So photographing pets is huge for me, especially, because I feel like, yes, anybody can point a camera at a dog and take a picture, but I don't feel like everybody captures who they are because you have to have the patience and you have to be able to read body. There's so much that goes into it, but it's things that are ingrained in me that are second nature to me. So for me, if a dog sits there and it takes 25 minutes to get the perfect shot, so what? I'm still with a dog. It's not a bad day in my opinion. And I know that not everybody, some photographers are like, that's way too much time not doing that. And that's why I feel like when it comes to choosing your photographer, you have to look at things like that. Just because someone can take a pretty picture doesn't mean that they're going to be the photography you need for whatever specific thing. And that's what I always tell people. It's like, I love that. Whereas something like newborns terrifies me. I'm not wrapping that itty bitty little baby up in those weird cocoon. That's to me, like, you can have that. I'm not taking that risk. Because if you screw that up, that's a big problem. So definitely pets, and just because I love it. I have so much fun when I'm having a pet session, just watching them like get used to me, and then they're coming out of their shells and their personalities start blooming, and watching owners interacting with them and capturing that special bond and everything. That's like top tier for me.
Oh yeah, pets have become like fur babies. I have a dog and rabbit and cat who, like I said, you might hear in the background. Like they're everything. They're really like great, especially when you have a hard day at work. My partner gets so excited coming home and just playing with the dog.
Yeah.
And he works as an EMT and he's also in classes to become a paramedic. And his favorite thing is just coming home to the dog. Like, forget about me. It's just the dog. And she gets so happy to see him. She's like doing all sorts of things. Like it's so cute. It's a special bond that you wouldn't really get otherwise.
Yep.
So we definitely need more photographers to capture that bond for sure. And where are you primarily located with your photography business? Like where do you work out of?
So I work out of my home because I don't have my own studio yet. It's a goal down the road. It's just not right now. And I'm in Fuquay, but I do travel. I'll go, obviously the local towns, Raleigh, Holly Springs, Cary, things like that. I will travel further. Then we just include some travel fees. And honestly, if someone wanted to fly me anywhere, I will go. If someone wants to fly me to California or overseas, any of that, I'm like, we can make it work. So I'm always down to, and I love to travel. So that's definitely one of those. If we can make it work, I will definitely be there.
That's the thing that I really like, especially with being on both ends. I just really like seeing all the different places that you wouldn't otherwise see unless you're going there for that particular job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you. I don't know if you ever experienced new parks before that you wouldn't have otherwise experienced without photography. It's
Yeah.
so pretty.
I feel like sometimes you have to because, it's hard to convince sometimes just yourself, or like you said, if your partner goes along with you, to go to some random state for a park or something. They're like, well, that's a long way to go for just one thing. If there's nothing else that you're interested in or whatever, and you look at travel cost and time and everything, it's like, do we really want to do that? So if you have a reason to be there, you just add on all the extra stuff with it, and it's just makes a whole vacation and a job. It just works.
Oh, I love that. I love the whole vacation and job thing. That's my goal in life is to just tie both things together very nicely. Now, would you like to add any last thoughts about your business before we ask about your experience as a North Carolina resident?
Um, Basically, just like I tell everybody, just pay the photographer and get the photos, because like I said earlier, that's all you're gonna have, and it's worth it. And for grumpy dads, do it for your wife, do it for your kids. It takes a few moments, and they'll appreciate it. Your wife will appreciate it. It doesn't photo sessions don't have to be stuffy and boring and frustrating. They can be fun, and just allowing everybody to express their personalities and have a good time, and making it something that you'll not only have to cherish and remember, but making an experience versus just a task that you have to do.
I like that, and I think that's definitely something that's becoming a lot more common now. Because I remember like going to those big studios like I was telling you about, it was all you gotta bang, 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 bada boom, and then get out. And seeing how now, like, as I explore myself, other photographers, you're really getting that beauty of photography. You're getting that joy and that emotion, and that's the best part.
Yeah,
So I agree with you. This is these are memorabilias that you will not otherwise capture on your phone.
exactly.
So now Fuquay Varina. I that's where my real estate company is located. So I have yet to fully explore Fuquay. So what do you think of the area?
It has changed a ton. I'm born and raised in North Carolina, but I'm from Sanford, which is south of Fuquay. We bought our house in Fuquay in 2012. So I've been here, was that 12 years? Yeah, 12 years. And in the 12 years, it's funny. When we first moved to Fuquay, part of why we moved here is we were up in North Raleigh, kind of Nightdale area, renting at the time because I went to state for for college. So that's why I had moved up to this area. And Nightdale, North Raleigh area was already huge. So when we were looking to buy a house, we were like, okay, we want to kind of get away from this because I grew up in more of the rural country. My husband's from Columbus, so he's basically from the city. And so for him, it didn't bother him. But for me, I'm like, I need a yard. I don't want all of this. And he was like, okay, I want a yard too. So we started looking and we told the realtor what we were looking for, and they were like, "Well, you're gonna have to go outside of Raleigh." It's like, "That's fine." So Fuquay was where we had looked one day, and we had found a neighborhood that actually had properties with some land, not a tenth of an acre, but actual acres of land. And so we were like, "Okay, it's a nice little town. It's quiet." Basically through town was a little 4-lane road, some of it just 2 lanes. They didn't have any huge, they had a Walmart, I mean, because everybody has a Walmart, but nothing huge, just little stores and things like that. And it's like, okay, we could do this. And they do town events, things you don't really see in like bigger cities because they don't have the room for it. So we bought our house, and in the 12 years since then, Fuquay has blown up. It has gotten you, even now, they're just the amount of houses they're building and things that are happening. It's insane the difference of when we moved here versus what it is today. So it's good and it's bad. It's nice to have new things coming in, but traffic is a nightmare. But it's you deal with it and just hope that planners are taking care of that side of it. But even they recently announced that Fuquay's getting a Target. So it
Yeah,
went
I heard
from
that
like,
too.
it was like you had Walmart and now you have Target coming, which is, you never thought that would happen. But so that tells you the amount of change that they've had to, just basic Walmart and a couple food lines and Harris Teeter to you're now getting a Target.
No, I have the opposite experience. So, like, I'm down here in Spring Lake. I'm from the city originally, and now I'm living in country. And I never thought I'd like country until I actually got here. It's actually quite peaceful, minus all that yard work. Not a huge fan of that. So I can imagine the shocker of like you being there for already about like 12 years and just seeing it slowly change the infrastructure.
Hmm.
Now, do you have any favorite places for dining that you really like that you have to like that you would recommend to somebody who's thinking about moving here?
So local to like the Fuqua area, there is well, there's one place in Anger. It's a little mom and pop shop. It's called Ed's Family Restaurant. I really like them because it's that typical like comfort food. You can go, you can get a cheeseburger, but you can also get hamburger steak or things like that people really like. And it's always a very laid back, just welcoming atmosphere. You'll see a ton of the locals in there all the time. Like the waiters and waitresses know them by name. They walk in and they're like the usual. I mean, they don't even have to take an order from them. So I like that that's really, you're supporting local business, but it's also just that environment of you actually can feel like you're at home. Some of these are local too, but they're bigger, would be winging it's pretty good for it's a sports bar type environment, but they have good food, and if you want a place to go watch the games, things like that, it's really good. Um, Brews on Main. She's changed her hours recently to include some nighttime stuff, but they have some good I haven't been to the new nighttime food, so I haven't tried that part of it. But she makes really good breakfast bowls. And again, it's local. Bakery wise, everybody loves Stick Boy. You can go and get coffee, you can get breads, cakes, traditional like cinnamon rolls, things like that, cookies. Trying to think of all the ones I meant to make a list and then I got busy. Um, but I really love supporting the local stuff just because, as a small business owner myself, supporting other small businesses and just, it helps keep them in our town versus having just the giant chains that everybody knows. And then another thing, I'm a chamber, I'm part of the Fuquay Chamber, and I feel like they're huge too when it comes to local businesses because they really go out of their way to help local businesses, whether, it's someone like me as a photographer, all the way up to the ones that own the restaurants and things like that, and just providing support for the community, getting it out there. So if you ever need good suggestions for places locally too, check out the chamber because they're going to have the know about all of it.
That's great. That's something I really admired coming down here is for the most part all the towns and cities that I've been slowly learning more about, they really care about their community and that is so nice. Plus local food always has the best food.
Yes.
Um I tried Little Portugal up in Fuquay because I'm Portuguese and I needed myself some Portuguese cuisine and that was delicious.
Yeah.
I need to try more. I definitely need to try more, but like I have yet to have a bad experience in any of the small business restaurants I tried.
Yeah, they're definitely really good around here. Like Neil's Mediterranean. I'm not even a Mediterranean person, and I've eaten some of their food, and I was like, okay, this isn't because the few that I've had were like the larger Mediterranean restaurants, like catered in through jobs or whatever. But theirs is really good, and they're great people. They're always, helping out the community and making sure that you if you don't like it for some reason, you tell they're gonna take care of it. They're not gonna be like, get out of my restaurant. They actually care and want people to be happy with what they're getting and come back. So definitely, I haven't tried Little Portugal yet, but we do
I have
have,
to
and
try
that's a
more.
cool thing too.
I definitely have to try more. Food is always good. What's your favorite activity to do of the area? To do in the area, I should say.
So one of the things I like to do, it's not technically Fuquay, but it's not far of a drive, is we have Raven Rock, which is down in Lillington, and it's a gorgeous park. So if you like hiking, it's a gorgeous park to go to. And they have easy trails. They have one, it's just the Raven Rock Loop. I think it's if you do the whole thing, it might be, I don't think it's quite 2 miles, but it's a pretty easy loop, not very hilly or anything like that. And then they have longer ones, and it's beautiful out there. You can see so much stuff. It's relaxing. You can take your dog, just go on a hike. You can stroll. There's people that run it. I don't know how. I'm too clumsy for all that. And then there's like the Outlook, which is, it's up above the Cape Fear River, and it's just gorgeous and peaceful out there. Um, Within the town locally, they do, like I said, they like to do festivals and things like that. Like one of the things they're doing now on Thursday nights is the Follow Me to Fuquay, and they do little concerts. And it's a whole thing, you get to go out, have a good time. There's local bands that are playing, and they do festivals throughout the year. The big one is Celebrate Fuquay in the fall, which has a bunch of vendors, and then they'll have local bands and things at that too. And it's always, a nice thing just if you want something local that's family friendly. And of course the Christmas parade in December, just all these things, which I really love about, like I said, the small town feel, even if we're not so small anymore. It's just having that where you can go out and you don't have to drive an hour away to do something like it was, it's local and it's basically right in your backyard, and it's going to be fun. They've got police there to make sure it's safe, and just supporting local, but also having a good time, meeting people you've probably met, catching up with friends, or maybe it's new people that you've never met, and knowing that it's a local community and not just random people somewhere.
No, that is a fair point. That's something I've been finding out more and more about is they have these really cute small concerts. I've yet to go to them, but it's definitely on my list because it sounds so nice, and I've yet to hear of somebody who has a bad time at them. Like
Yeah.
it's very enjoyed by like the whole town and even people who are not exactly residing in Fuquay, but a little bit on the outskirts, always love going to.
Hmm.
Now, people must be asking, but I'm going to keep it to small business since you said that there's already a Walmart and there's a Target coming up in Fuquay. What's your favorite small business place to shop at?
Hmm.
It could be slightly outside of Fuquay.
So I think it really depends on what I'm shopping for, but one one local they just changed their name recently, and I feel bad that I can't remember what the name change is. But they were originally the Shops on Main, and they were on Main Street, but they've moved, and with that, they changed their name. But you go in there, and they had all kinds of things. They had, like, couture dresses and bags and like the corkles and all those, trending cups, and they would just all kinds you could basically just walk in this building, and you're like it was like multiple little shops within a big shop. So you could go there and find so many different things. Um, and just it was all local, but it was also one of those things that, you could pretty much do a one-stop shop and find that there's another shop in Anger, it's called Simply Said. She's big on local all of her stuff is from local vendors, and a lot of it's Anger, Fuquay area. So, they're local people, but they're also like different things that they've been making. Candles and bandanas, purses, all kinds of different stuff.
Okay, so make sure next time I go there, just go there without a budget in mind and just shop.
Pretty much.
I know that we're running a bit short on time. Do you have any other places that you recommend that are must-sees around the Triangle area?
The Triangle in general is like the NC Art Museum is gorgeous. Definitely recommend that to people. Um, all of the local parks I feel like are really nice because we've got like Raven Rock is down in Lillington, but then you've also got all of the Greenway trails, Durham, Chapel Hill, all those different areas. Any of the parks, all of our parks, I feel like they do that really well. They make sure that they're friendly and family safe and welcome and just walking trails, pet friendly. Um, Dick's Park has all kinds of things. Pullen Park if you've got kiddos because they've got a merry-go-round, they've got the little train. They do the Polar Express at Christmas and just all kinds of little fun things that they do locally. Um, those are the big ones that we have around here locally, but there's definitely a ton in this general vicinity.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you. I've been learning about each little thing that the triangle has based on my interviews thus far. So it's crazy to me. Coming from a small state, it's still crazy to me for sure. For somebody who's thinking about moving here to Fuquay, what advice would you give them?
Definitely prepare for traffic because it is one of those big things here. And then, if you housing right now is crazy too, obviously. I feel like that's anywhere. But it's gonna be a welcoming, still small town vibe. It's obviously not a small town anymore, but there's welcoming, and then there's like I said, there's tons of local businesses to support. You also still have your big box stores if you need that, but lots of local businesses, lots of local activities and things to make sure that you're having fun in the town, also get to know the town. People, the in the town, the police chief, the fire chief, the mayor, they're all involved in a lot of the local things. It's not just one of those you see their name on a poster, but you never see them situations. They are actively involved. And we have even local things like Mama Moses with the Underground Railroad, or I think that's what she calls it.
Mhm.
She's local and she's big on helping people who, if you're struggling, like if you don't have enough to feed your family this month, she's gonna take care of you. You reach out to her. She's done huge, amazing things in this community, just helping people who have fallen on hard times. And it's nice that that's still something that a small town is able to do, and versus just, oh well, figure it out, having people that are actually out there helping.
No, I'm really glad you brought that up, and it just goes to show how, especially around this area, is how much people really truly take care of each other. And it's nice because you really don't get that anywhere else. I mean, where I come from, it was a small city and there was a lot of Portuguese people, so you kind of did know everyone and people generally tried to help each other out. But I feel like once you venture out of that, it's really rare that people would take time out of their busy day to actually go out of their way to help somebody. So it's nice. It's nice that there's still that community type feel, and that hasn't gone away, and hopefully will never go away.
Hopefully.
Do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share?
um Not really, just, like I said, if you like the small town vibe, even if you don't live here, you can always come visit, check it out, support the local businesses, the concerts, things like that. It's a nice little area to have a good date night and just have some time, laid back and relax.
Definitely. I definitely gotta explore a lot more of Fuquay one of these days. But thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and letting me interview you. I'm really glad we got a chance to do this, and
Yeah,
also got your perspective on Fuquay for resident, because you've actually been a longtime resident, and you're my first longtime resident to interview. So I really appreciate that. Um, but thank you so much. I'm going to include your information down in the description. So if anyone is considering about booking you, they have your contact information, can easily reach out to you. And again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was so nice meeting you.
thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.